Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. This was the go-home show before Money in the Bank this Sunday, and I would call this yet another middle-of-the-road Raw. I thought the first hour was very strong. Second hour was pretty meh, but then I think the third hour picked up a bit. I would say this wasn't an offensive or even an outright bad Raw by any means, but, I mean, it certainly wasn't the stellar knock him out of the park Raw like we had several weeks back in Montreal when Sami Zayn answered the John Cena U.S. Invitational. Ashton, what do you think of it?
I have a very skewed view of tonight's Raw.
Okay.
I literally slept from the beginning of Sheamus Orton to the end of Harper Rowan and Los Matadores.
Wow.
Actually, no, not Harper Rowan and Los Matadores. I was awake during that match, but I wasn't watching that match. To the end of Kane Ziggler is what it was when I slept till.
Okay.
I was literally woken up by Miz TV tonight.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say I have a very skewed view of the Raw, because I slept through what, in my opinion, was the worst part, and therefore I actually really, really enjoyed the show tonight.
Right, whereas with me, I stayed up for every segment, so obviously mine is going to be, I guess a bit more balanced, you could say, with the good and the bad.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where I watched stuff that interested me, and by doing so, I managed to really just kind of get like the highlight reel version of Raw. I saw everything that I really liked. Or at least I should actually switch that. I should say I liked everything that I saw.
Right.
It's kind of a weird dynamic, but yeah, I actually really liked what I saw tonight. The thing is, I didn't see Sheamus Orton, Kane Ziggler, Harper and Rowan versus Los Matadores, or Big E versus Titus, because between the Harper Rowan Los Matadores match and the Big E Titus match, I was busy doing other stuff. And obviously, like I said, I slept through Sheamus Orton and Kane Ziggler.
Right.
But I saw everything else, and everything else was great.
Well, that's all that matters, I guess. So, keeping the ball rolling, let's get right into our first segment. Heat of the night. Again, nothing really too offensive or whatever. If I had one nitpick, though, and maybe this is just me kind of projecting, so I apologize. I really didn't care for Kane Ziggler tonight and Kane going over. I don't know.
I mean, I didn't actually see the match, but I'm reading here that Kane went over Ziggler with a distraction by Rusev and Lana.
And that is correct. That is correct. I just don't really know if I'm digging this whole Lana's now with Ziggler kind of storyline. I don't know. I think this is coming more from the fact that I am a Ziggler fan, and I just think, like, man, what a hard fall for Ziggler, being the sole survivor at Survivor Series,
in a role that was most likely designed for Roman Reigns, let's be honest with ourselves.
Because he was injured at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably true, but still, he got that rub. And kind of the rule of professional wrestling is, hey, when one really hot guy is injured, it sucks, it's horrible, but the upside is that somebody else can step in and, take that spot. That was Ziggler. Didn't do a damn thing. And now he's doing this whole thing with Lana. And I like both characters. I really do. I just don't think they're good for each other. I will say, if there's any positive, because you know how we do at TWitWoW, we always put the positive spin on things. I'm glad they've still found a way to get Rusev on TV, despite the injury and everything, so that, I'm not saying people would forget about Rusev or this and that, but, I mean, time is money, and, you're sitting at home, you're not, participating in the same things that you would be if you were at work. So, great way of utilizing Rusev still in storylines. It just sucks that Ziggler is once again getting the short end of the stick and losing to Kane of all people. I mean, come on. I would have preferred if he would have jobbed out to Kofi Kingston, but he ended up actually having a really stellar match tonight, so I guess it all worked out the way it should have. I just wanted to air that grievance. Ashton, do you have any heats tonight or any nitpicks?
I guess the fact that the show was boring enough for me to fall asleep during it would definitely be a heat of the night, or at least a nitpick. I mean, I can't imagine it not being a heat of the night. Like Sheamus, Orton, as soon as they said that, I was literally, I went from laying down on the sofa with my head towards the TV to laying down on the sofa with my head in a position that was the most comfortable so that I could take a nap, because I knew it was going to happen whether I tried or not.
Right.
Like Orton, Sheamus, I love both of these guys, just not against each other.
The same way I just said with my nitpick. I love both Lana and Ziggler. I just don't know if it's best for both their careers to be with each other in this kind of storyline.
Yeah.
So it's weird how that works out.
Well, and then that's the thing, too, is that, like, while I was taking my nap, something must have woke me up or gotten my attention, because I saw that Kane Ziggler was going on, and I was just like, oh, yeah, back of my eyelids seem a little more appealing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, let's go ahead and call that a heat of the night, that the middle hour was really boring.
There you go. I really have nothing more to say on that. I have a feeling this could be a very succinct Raw review, given that you slept through a good chunk of it.
Well, technically I slept through 2 matches, and then I missed another 2 matches due to doing other stuff. But all of the actual talking points I was awake for. It's just that the matches that I wasn't paying attention to or sleeping through don't matter. Like, does it really matter who wins between Sheamus and Orton? Does it really matter who wins between Ziggler and Kane? Does it really matter who wins between Big E and Titus O'Neil? Does it really matter who wins between the team of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, who, from here on out, I will be referring to as the Reapers, because that's what they called themselves on SmackDown, or Los Matadores? I don't care. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter.
Indeed it doesn't.
Only storyline progression that we got out of all 4 of those matches combined was the fact that Harper and Rowan are using a 3D now.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the storyline progression that happened in the middle hour. That's it.
But with that said, I mean, nothing more I could really add to that, so let's roll right on through to our Monday Night Raw review, and we open it up with the Wait a minute, no we didn't! It was John Cena!
Something different.
Holy mother of... I don't even know what. John Cena opens this Raw. That's how speechless I am.
I've mentioned this before. I wish we had kind of like whatever the opposite of Heat of the Night would be. I guess it would be Shine of the Night. Because if we could, there would be 3 things. First of all, it would be this. Second of all, it would be R-Truth. And third of all, it would be Miz TV. Those would be my 3 Shines of the Night.
Yeah, definitely. So John Cena comes out, and he pretty much, addresses Kevin Owens. Says, this rematch is going to be huge. It's going to be, must see. And it's going to be 2 champions are going to go head to head. And it's going to be for an opportunity to prove who really is more or less the man. And Cena even kind of toots his own horn a little bit, despite losing to Kevin Owens at Chamber. And he does give Kevin Owens credit that he's, impressive. John Cena is, still the man. He's still the face that runs the place. He's still the standard bearer. Of course, Kevin Owens has something to say about that, so when John Cena's done hyping himself up, Kevin Owens then comes out, and the one key word that Owens uses repeatedly in his promo is delusional. Yep. John, you're delusional. What you think is delusional. The people that actually believe in your mantras are delusional. And you've been, coming out and starting Raws and doing this for 10 years, and I think a lot of people are getting tired of it, don't you think? Nobody cares about your U.S. Open challenge. They want to see me issue an NXT Championship Open challenge. Cena's like, well, Kevin, that's a great idea. I accept.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
And then Kevin Owens is like,
dude, we fight on Sunday. Chill your pants.
Exactly. Like, he gives him that look like a parent gives a child. Like, they still don't get it even after being lectured. And Kevin's like, John, you're still delusional. And he schools him again.
It's like the kid's like, why can't you buy me a horsey, Daddy? And then it's that look, exactly.
It's because we don't have disposable income, son. And, as far as Kevin Owens is concerned, it's because, again, and to your point, Ashton, they're already fighting on Sunday.
And he does make that point, Owens does.
Exactly.
Yeah,
way to cheapen the pay-per-view, John. I thought you were the company guy. God. But then, I was like...
selling them tickets, brother.
After they quarrel a bit more, Kevin Owens, in his infinite wisdom, actually finds the solution to the problem. He's a better John Cena than even John Cena.
He's a problem solver.
He says, whoever walks down that ramp next, why don't we let them make the decision of who they're going to fight, either for the NXT Championship or your United States Championship. And Neville answers that call.
And I knew as soon as he did, oh man, we're actually going to have someone come out here and opt for the NXT title over the US title. And he did, and I am so proud of him for doing so.
Dude, I just got to say as a quick aside, I can't say enough how much I've been loving the booking of Neville since he's debuted on the main roster.
Yep.
I had a conversation with Gordon Masden today, which was a hell of a lot of fun, and we talked a lot about Neville, and I just said, hey, that guy is just going to be one of the prospects for years to come on Monday Night Raw. I know we give a lot to Owens and all them, and they deserve it, but let's not forget about how great Neville is. And his promo skills have been top-notch on the main roster. Hell, they were getting even better on NXT. I know you and I would know it a lot. But he does explain, John, we fought before, and I felt like I came close to beating you, and I definitely want to fight you again someday.
Yeah.
So they keep the match in their back pocket, and I was so relieved. I'm like, no, when they face off again, Neville needs to get the win, and if he does it here, that's not going to be tonight. So then he opts for Owens, because in his mind, Owens doesn't deserve to be NXT champion. He doesn't deserve that prize despite calling himself a prize fighter. So pretty much challenging Kevin Owens' honor and his dignity as a champion. Yep. And then we get our matchup with John Cena on commentary. And here's the thing. I want to say this, too, because I know – actually, I don't really think you cared for Cena on commentary here. I would agree with you in terms of like the personality enthusiasm, because he really did sound like he was commentating a PGA tour of sorts.
Yeah, he really did. It was like he was talking like this, and he sounded like he was trying to make sure that people in the ring couldn't hear him speak.
But, I will say this. I really did appreciate how he put both guys over. He gave Kevin Owens all the credit in the world for beating him at Chamber. And I'm like, well, where was this John Cena last week? God. And then, of course, he does give Neville his due as well. And really a great back and forth between these two guys. I think the crowd was into it. I certainly was. The end comes. I really like the ending, too, because I think it makes Kevin Owens look so legitimate, because there were multiple teases in the ending sequence that Neville was going to hit the red arrow. And Kevin Owens kept stuffing each attempt, and then finally he just throws Neville's balance off. He falls off the top rope, and then Kevin Owens ultimately hits the pop-up powerbomb, which, given Neville's like speed and stature and everything, he makes it look utterly devastating.
Yeah.
And Owens gets the win. So I really like that, because that made Owens seem so tough, because normally with Neville, maybe the opponent will avert it the first time, but Neville normally gets that red arrow off. And the idea that Owens just wasn't going to have it, he was that tenacious, I think really speaks volumes about Kevin Owens and his resiliency. I loved it. And then, after the match, Kevin Owens, in all of his swagger, just being like, yeah, that's right, that happened. He holds the ropes open for Cena, and he invites him in. Cena actually answers the call, but Owens ultimately, does step down, again, saving the real fight for Sunday. Loved everything about this just whole opening segment in our opening contest as well. Just great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the whole first half hour of the show between the Cena promo and then the Cena Owens promo and then the Owens Neville match was gold. It was all really, really good stuff. I enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on all counts. Moving on, I just want to say this very quickly so I won't have to keep mentioning it for all the segments that it shows up. What they do with Dean Ambrose throughout the night up until the end is they do Instagram highlights of him parading around New Orleans with the WWE Championship. I thought it was cool. I would have preferred actual video with Dean Ambrose kind of talking about and cutting promos. So, they had a nice direction of Dean, being Dean, or the kind of Dean that we would expect.
Yeah, that's my thing, too, is that, how they say a picture's worth a million words or whatever it is. Right. I mean, these pictures told just as much of a story as any promo he could have cut would have. It's like, this is his personality told through a freaking photo album, and I love it.
And I could certainly say, I think that's a very fair point. So I just wanted to mention that that's really how Dean was utilized, and then we'll talk about him more in the ending segment. So with that said, we go on to, the Authority looking at the photos and just kind of laughing at themselves, and then Seth walks in, and then he's like, what are we going to do about this, guys? And then Stephanie's like, what are we going to do about this? But Seth, you said last week that you don't need any help. Isn't that true? And then he's like, oh, Steph, let me clarify. I don't need J&J Security's help, and I certainly don't need Kane's help. I don't need the help of that 7-foot-tall piece of crap. But I have always respected the two of you. And then Triple H, reaffirms, you don't need our help. And Rollins is like, I don't? You don't. And to prove it, we're going to have you pick your own opponent, and then you're going to show us what you can do on your own. And then Seth's like, gee, thanks for having all the confidence in me, guys. I won't let you down. And in the back of their minds, they're just like, oh, you won't. Because Kevin Owens will make sure that everything stays exactly as it should. But yeah, great stuff here. Seth backpedaling a little bit, realizing I may be in a bit over my head, and God knows how I would feel when the night ended, but we'll get to that later. But still enjoying the dynamic between, the Authority and Rollins. We'll see where that ultimately leads. And Ashton, do you have anything you want to say about this, or can I move on?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, we get a recap of Paige's promo from SmackDown, pretty much saying that the Bella Machine, more or less, has been holding the rest of the Divas down. And, Paige has never been one that believed in the whole mantra of, if you can't beat them, join them. Paige says, if you don't like the world you live in, you have the power to change it. So I guess it's up to me to change it. Now we get Renee Young with Nikki reacting to it. And Nikki pretty much says, Renee, I don't know what they're talking about. Me and Brie, we've never held anyone back. Everything we've gotten, we deserve.
Maria Kanellis, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just ask her about that whole dirt. And then, and then we find out through Nikki that A, she's facing Summer Rae tonight, and B, we have got Paige versus Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship at Money in the Bank. And then Nikki Bella closes with the line of, this may be Paige's house, but she's living in the Bella's world. Do you have anything you want to say about this?
Well, I will say this. Oh man, people are gonna jump on me for this. I actually, if you look at what Nikki Bella said and what Paige said, I think Nikki Bella was more right than Paige. Yeah. Because Paige, even though she definitely made a good point about the Bellas holding Divas back, specifically, again, we've got to go back to the Maria Kanellis situation. A lot of what she says at this point has literally no substance. And the fact that Paige is kind of going out there and acting like, oh, the Bellas are these fake Barbie dolls, and I'm not a diva, I'm a woman wrestler. You're on the freaking reality show too, sweetheart. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she has a different look, but she cares just as much about her physical appearance as the Bellas do. It's not like we've got freaking Awesome Kong out there, big hefty black woman scaring the hell out of everyone every week. It's Paige. She's freaking gorgeous. She knows it. Her parents have been using her look to make money since she was like 14 years old, for God's sakes. Right. So I just don't like the idea that they're trying to make it seem like Paige is this super deep character that doesn't care about appearances and thinks that all that you need to win a championship is a personality and the charisma and the in-ring talent, when everyone knows damn well that if charisma and personality and in-ring talent were all that mattered, none of these women would be Divas champions. Sasha frickin' Banks would be.
That is so true. She really is better than everyone else.
Yeah.
But I don't know how all roads lead back to Sasha Banks, but I am not complaining.
Well, that's how the universe works, John. All roads really do lead back to Sasha Banks.
You're so right. Unfortunately, though.
You know who else is right quite often?
Who's that?
Sasha Banks.
Oh my god, this son of a bitch is on fire. But unfortunately, we cannot keep talking about Sasha Banks, even though, honestly, if TWitWoW was devoted to Sasha Banks, my god, I would just amazing. But we can't do that because we have Summer Rae versus Nikki Bella up next. And I really wanted Summer Rae to get the upset win because of a Paige distraction, but of course it's just too much to ask. I don't even really remember much about this match except for the finish. Nikki Bella does get her kick from the second rope, pretty much her version of a disaster kick, if you will. And then Flash kick, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was called before Johnny Mundo and Cody Rhodes came up with different names for it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And then she hits the rack attack, and she gets the win. No Brie Bella in sight, no Paige in sight, which, I don't know, it's kind of off-putting a little bit to me.
Can I just say, though, I discovered this today, and I told you about it, and I posted it on TWitWoW and stuff. Nikki Bella has not been pinned since April 6th.
I know. How insane is that?
And the person that pinned her on that day was Naomi.
Damn right.
In a tag team match.
I'll take it.
Yeah, especially because of all the tag team matches that they've had since where Brie ate the pin, or they just won.
Oh man, at least with Brie not coming out for Nikki's matches lately, we don't have to hear, "Come on, Nikki!"
I know, it's so wonderful. But I'm starting to notice something. I don't know, see if you've made this connection yet. The Bella twins have literally become the Briscoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikki is Jay.
God.
Nikki is Jay. She's the undefeatable champion. And Brie is Mark, who fights in undercard matches if she gets the opportunity, and always eats the pin in tag matches.
Oh my god. Made that connection. Oh my god, I need to move on. This whole next segment was absolutely wonderful in every possible way.
Which one was it?
It's the big promo segment.
Oh, yes, with Kane, yes.
Yes. Roman Reigns makes his way, like he comes out. I think gets a nice pop. I didn't really hear many boos. And I gotta say, man, I think Roman Reigns has improved these last few months.
Oh, dude, he's gotten so much better. And the crazy thing is, it's not even just on the mic. He's gotten a lot more fun to watch in the ring, too. Like, I feel like the match of the night tonight was him and Kingston.
I would agree with that. I'm excited to talk about that match when we get to it. And I love Roman's sentiments here because he pretty much says, there was a time that I hated that briefcase. And that makes sense because the briefcase is connected with his disastrous, WrestleMania 31 memory of getting close to beating Brock Lesnar. Then Seth Rollins steals it from him. But now he says, it's not looking so bad. Especially because it's not attached to the biggest jackass in history, Seth Rollins. And he says, while we're talking about history, I'm going to make history when I climb that ladder. I take that contract, and then I cash it in on the man that I will face, with the championship after this Sunday, Dean Ambrose. So Roman Reigns teasing a potential confrontation with Dean Ambrose. I found that very interesting. I think their relationship is a part of a bigger picture, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. What exactly that picture is, we may start to see it come together this Sunday. But before Roman Reigns can continue, Kane comes out. And then Kane says, well, let me tell you what I believe. Based on your track record, I believe anyone has a better chance of winning than you do. And you see your losses as motivation to win. I see them as weakness, a weakness that I exploited to chokeslam you to hell on SmackDown. And he says, I'm in the Money in the Bank ladder match to protect the authorities' interests. And their interest is, pretty much not seeing you as Mr. Money in the Bank. And he says, well, conversely, I am the best choice. So Kane believes that he'll be a great Mr. Money in the Bank. And then Roman says, well, hey, that's Sunday and this is Monday. So why don't you come in this ring so I could teach everybody here in New Orleans how to break jaws? And then Dolph Ziggler comes out. And then he says, Roman, I wouldn't bother waiting for Kane to get in the ring because if you do, you're just going to have to wait for the authority to pull his string and let him do it. And then Ziggler kind of espouses his own accolades, the kind of role he's been on, dating Lana and being in Money in the Bank in the past, actually winning Money in the Bank in the past. So he knows he has a great chance. And then I'm going to hand it over to Ashton here because then R-Truth comes out. What'd you think about this, bud?
Oh, this was easily the funniest moment of the night. Well, maybe not next to the main event, but it was close. But R-Truth comes out. And he's doing his what's up shtick. And next thing you know, he's talking about, at WrestleMania, I overcame my fear. And Kane was just like, what are you doing? And then he goes, of ladder. Like, he just kept talking. Like, he just ignored Kane at first. But then Kane's just like, Truth, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm talking about what the Truth is going to do at Money in the Bank. You're not even in the match. Wait, really? Yeah, you're not in the match, Truth. Oh. Well, that's my bad. And he just walks out. He just walks away. That's it. That was the whole segment. It was amazing.
I love, too, that,
And the best part is everyone thought he was in the match.
I know, right?
Like, everyone on Reddit was just like, admit it, guys, you thought Truth was in the match when he came out. And everyone was like, yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you how much attention people really do pay to the WWE product, not that I
No,
blame
but that's
them.
the thing. It's not about how much attention you pay. If they just show you a graphic, it's really hard to memorize 7 names going into a match, especially when it's 7 names that are just names picked out of what seems like an assorted jar full of name tags of mid-card guys.
Right.
R-Truth could have very easily been Stardust, too. Like, I thought Stardust was in the match, too. Or maybe even Bray Wyatt, you know? Like, it's just this long list of guys that are kind of stuck in mid-card hell that aren't feuding with John Cena, Ryback, or Seth Rollins, and not in the tag team division. And yeah, like, if you just show a graphic a few times, I mean, it's nice that they do it multiple times, but it's a lot more difficult to remember than if they would have just had freaking qualifying matches so that we could actually remember. Let's see. Who won this match? Oh, that's right. He had to beat that guy in order to get into the Money in the Bank. It's like, it's making associations in your brain that helps you to remember stuff, whereas just looking at a picture, I mean, like, okay, he's in. I have this memorized. And then 10 minutes later, it's like, wait, who was in again?
Yeah, it's so funny, too, that you say about qualifying matches, because what I've noticed has thrown a lot of people off. Just last week when Roman Reigns had those 3 matchups, I think a lot of people thought that Bad News Barrett was in the Money in the Bank ladder match because he had that match with Roman Reigns. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was Barrett, Mark Henry, and Bray Wyatt, all three of whom could be in Money in the Bank, but none of whom are.
Yeah, Truth really stole this segment, and Ziggler was dying in the ring, and
Both of them were. Ziggler and Reigns were cracking up.
Yeah.
It was
and then when Kane is getting ready to resume what he was saying, the New Day then comes out. And then, they pretty much say, feel the power of a new day. And, of course, it's power of positivity, holding it down. And when Kofi Kingston becomes Mr. Money in the Bank, they all become Mr. Money in the Bank. Because New Day rocks. New Day rocks. God, I love these guys every single time. But Kane tries again to speak, but then Sheamus interrupts him, and Kane is just growing increasingly frustrated. And then I love Sheamus here, and shouldn't be a surprise because I've often gone on record and said I love douchebags, that this whole idea that they all think that they're going to win the Money in the Bank match puts a smile on his face, as does the fact that he destroyed Randy Orton on Raw. And he says, at Money in the Bank, he's going to win that briefcase, and then he will only be one bro kick away from becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion again. And then Kane pretty much throws his arms up in the air and says, anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. There are 2 other people in this match. One, the man that gravity forgot, the new sensation, Neville. And it was cool of Kane to put in both those nicknames. And then the other...
And then he just pauses and waits because he knows that the way Randy Orton is, that he's going to interrupt him. I love that all of Kane's interruption karma is coming back to bite him tonight in one night.
I know, right?
It's like the old TV trope used to be Kane interferes in a match, get someone disqualified. Now it's people interrupt Kane, get him frustrated.
Yeah. Then we go to Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Randy Orton doesn't even cut a promo, guys. You know what? I don't even really want to talk about this match all that much because they did the back and forth, but it was pretty much a repeat finish from last week except reverse the results. This time Sheamus wins by DQ because Orton threw the chair in Sheamus' gut that, Sheamus had introduced in the match. It just, got turned around on him. I'm wondering if with these 2 DQ finishes, each guy with a win apiece, if maybe they're going to feud a little bit, even for one pay-per-view after Money in the Bank. I don't know, because then Orton kind of unleashes his fury on Sheamus, and he drops him with an RKO to end the segment. So, I don't know. Both these guys, 2 weeks now, they've gone back and forth really brutalizing each other, and they're both going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And after that, we get Rollins backstage, and then J&J Security comes up, and, Jamie's pretty much like, now, Seth, I know that, we're really hurting after losing your WWE Championship, and when people are hurting, they say things they don't mean, but we want to be in your corner tonight and this Sunday. In fact, he even says we'd be honored to be in your corner. And then Rollins just tears J&J a new one. Says, you guys are a joke. I hired you because I felt sorry for you. All I wanted in return was a bit of competence. and just, pretty much that you guys are pathetic. Noble says, hey, man, screw you. You wouldn't be champion without us. We're the new Shield. And pretty much going over how each of them was better than the original Shield. And then, Jamie saying, and Seth, you were the architect. You are the architect. And then Seth is just like, you know what, guys, I'm done with this. I pick to face you and you tonight so I can show everybody that I can handle things on my own. And then he, I think, kind of laughs at Jamie Noble, and then he slaps him. Noble slaps him back, and then Seth seems like he's about to pop off on both these guys, and then Joey Mercury intervenes, and he finally speaks. And he says, we had your back since day one. Tonight, we're kicking your ass. And Rowan just has this look on his face like, oh my God, he talks. I don't believe it. So, yeah, pretty cool segment here. What'd you think of it?
I actually really enjoyed Joey Mercury finally breaking his silence just to tell Seth off. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I thought, maybe the timing could have been a little better with him to finally speak, but you know what? All things considered, I thought this was beautifully done.
I mean, hey man, this was the last night that they were going to be together.
That's true. I mean, if the end of Raw tonight was any indication, that's certainly true. So why the hell not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we go from that to Dolph Ziggler versus Kane. I really don't care because Dolph really should have won this match, but he didn't because, and I'll give it to him. Rusev kind of run in. He makes Lana fall off the ramp and maybe sprain her ankle. Ziggler was distracted. Kane takes advantage, hits the chokeslam. He gets the win. The idea that Kane is winning matches in 2015 is very concerning. But
hey man, they got to keep him legit so he can put people over like Roman Reigns.
That is true. That is true, but after the match, Ziggler checks on Lana, asks if she is okay. I mean, it's clear that she's definitely going to need some medical attention. And then, we go to a segment where we see J&J preparing in the locker room, pretty much saying, yeah, we got this. We're going to show that he does need us tonight, and they're just, kind of preparing. After that, we get some hype for Tough Enough and everything. Then we see Lana and Ziggler in the trainer's room. Pretty much tell Lana to ice the ankle, and then when we really get back to actual segments that are substantive, it's Miz TV.
Which was great.
Yeah, Ryback, I think, really owned this segment here.
Dude,
I said, yeah.
Here's my thing. The crowd tonight was dead all freaking night. Ryback brought them to life.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I know people in the past have been critical of Ryback's mic skills and everything, and he's certainly no Mick Foley or CM Punk, but he does the job of a babyface. He got the crowd engaged, and I loved what he did.
He's a modern-day Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
He might not be the most articulate son of a gun on the planet, but what he says and the way he says it gets the crowd involved, and that's what works.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm so happy that he's Intercontinental Champion. I think he could do good things with the belt. I really do. And, yeah, Miz pretty much puts everybody to sleep saying, I should be Intercontinental Champion, but Big Show knocked me out.
Yeah. You said that he put people to sleep. Maybe we shouldn't necessarily repeat what he said then.
Well, yeah. Then Ryback comes out and pretty much just run Miz into the ground. Says, I'm mad at Big Show, too, because he robbed me of the opportunity to meat hook your face off. Miz retorts...
Oh, your face. I love Ryback so much.
Miz retorts pretty much saying, oh, but you don't know what it's like to have this good looking of a face, and blah, 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 same old
Do
Miz
you have
retort.
any idea how important it is to have a good face upkeep?
I think the funniest thing Miz said was I actually had to visit surgeons so that they could help me, retain my ability to emote, because apparently that's how much damage was done to his face. But then Ryback...
I forget, what was the reason that he had damage done to his face? Who did what?
Because
Big Show's knockout punch, that's right.
Yeah. And then... they actually play a little game, these two, with the crowd, because Miz always has that thing, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. And then Ryback retorts, well, when my hand goes up, you say, feed me more. And the crowd actually did a nice feed me more chant. So they go back for a little bit more. Then Big Show comes out.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed Big Show's work here.
You know what? I wish I could say the same, and I can understand why you did, because I feel like he's delivering everything, but it's still the same old shit with him.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't necessarily mean the I'm a giant, what are you going to do to me stuff. That's boring. That's the same old crap. I'm talking about the attitude that he had, where he was just kind of not taking any of the Miz's crap and being like sort of assertive, but not necessarily a dick to Ryback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could tell clearly that Big Show respects Ryback in the sense of, well, at least I know this guy could give me a fight.
Right. It's like he's a baby face, but he's not like a smiling, kissing babies kind of baby face.
Right. In fact, I will give Big Show credit here. The one funny line he had was, let me make something clear. Of all the tag team partners I've had, when you were my tag team partner, I hated you immediately. Yeah. Like, I thought that was great. And Miz just had this look on his face like, get no respect. And it's because you don't deserve any. But after that, these two, Ryback and
I'm pretty
Big
sure that was a shoot, brother.
Yeah. Ryback
Big Show hates the Miz legit.
Probably. Big Show and Ryback have a stare down. Then Miz, in his infinite wisdom, thought it would be smart to try and attack the Big Show. I have no idea how he reasoned that out.
Yeah, where in the world did that even come from?
I don't know, but I thought it was hilarious because Big Show pretty much takes Miz by the throat and he throws him over the top rope. But then Ryback, great television moment here, hits Big Show with the shell shock and leads the crowd in a "Feed Me More" chant. I'm telling you,
I was honestly tempted to make this a heat of the night.
Because you felt like they should have saved a moment like that for pay-per-view?
Yeah, dude. Why would you give that away right now? Like, right here. Like, freaking... Oh, really? You're going to just give that away on television when you have a pay-per-view match probably set up between these guys soon? I don't get it.
To be fair, I could definitely see where you're coming from, right?
There are very few things that I would consider myself old school on. But when it comes to being able to build up an entire match around one potential spot, I am a huge advocate of that. And they could have built up this entire match around Ryback lifting Big Show. Did you hear this pop? The massive pop that Ryback got when he lifted Big Show up.
Oh, yeah, it was huge.
It was bigger than the pop that he got when he said, when I have my hand up, you say, feed me more. It was bigger than that. He got such a big pop. And it could have been even more meaningful if they would have actually built to it and teased that maybe he can't do it, and then he did it. It would have been amazing.
I agree with you. I agree on all counts. I think the reason why they did it, though, was we've seen Ryback hit the shell shot on Big Show before on TV, so they probably considered it not that big of a deal. Which, it's so funny, because on one hand, WWE is more than content to insult the intelligence of fans by thinking that they have no memory with some angles, but then with things like this, they just really don't seem to care. Because I still feel like they could have...
I guess here's my thing. I didn't remember that until I looked it up.
Right.
I didn't remember that the Big Show was, or that the Ryback was able to pick the Big Show up like that until I looked it up and kind of and jogged my memory. Right. So it's not necessarily something that everyone's going to be like, oh, well, this is stupid. Everyone knows you can do it. Because, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that I have the best memory, but I've got a pretty good memory, especially when it comes to wrestling, and I forgot that. So,
right.
Man, it's just disappointing to me that they blew it this quickly and that they didn't even bother trying to build anything up to it.
Yeah, I can certainly agree with you there. Moving on, Los Matadores versus Harper and Rowan. Not really much to say here. I will say I do kind of disagree, even though it's not the biggest deal. I don't want to make it seem like it is. But I sense maybe two storyline progressions here, because the one, of course, is the 3D, as Asher noted. The other thing, though, that I think is worth mentioning for just a second, El Torito was kind of doing his whole bolt working thing on the apron, and Harper and Rowan take him out. And I want to say, one of the Matadors, I'll put it like that, was checking on El Torito, and that's why the other Matador that was in the ring couldn't make the tag, which is why he fell to the 3D, which I should say the Reapers, because I'll do that too on TWitWoW, are calling that double team move the Way. So I could see them kicking El Torito to the curb because he kind of set in motion them losing that match. And that's been rumored for a while now that El Torito is going to be excommunicated from Los Matadores. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I don't know if you heard this or not either, but apparently they're thinking about putting him with Lucha Dragons.
I did hear that, and I guess whatever gets him back into a more prominent spot, because I thought they would have been owning the tag division by now, but maybe I shouldn't be so surprised they're NXT.
They should be. They really should be. I mean, it's terrible because it's one of those situations where you have these two guys in a tag team that are really good in the ring, that legitimately get reaction from the crowd, and you're just straight up not using them. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe just because I guess that they're not perceived to be as over as primetime players, which I guess doesn't really make sense to me because I do love PTP, but they're nowhere near the Lucha Dragons level as far as the ability to get over in one freaking match.
Right. I don't know.
Titus O'Neil is quite over, though, I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I don't want to take anything away from PTP.
I think I just transitioned us into our next segment, too.
Well, actually, you kind of jumped the gun a little bit because I did want to talk about Harper and Rowan's post-match promo.
Yeah, whatever. You said the same thing they said on SmackDown.
Yeah, more or less. Just, time to pay for your sins is almost over.
I just realized we completely stopped doing SmackDown recaps.
Yeah, we did. And then,
it would happen. We should have known.
Eric Rowan says, oh, it's okay to be afraid. You should be. And then, it's whatever. Then Kane and Seth Rollins have a segment. And pretty much they go back and forth. And Kane pretty much makes Seth Rollins aware it's a lose-lose for you. Because either by some miracle you win your matchup and I cash Money in the Bank in on you. Or Dean Ambrose wins and exposes you for the fraud that you are. And then I just cash in on Ambrose. Right. And then
lose for Seth and it's a win-win for Kane.
Yeah, and then Seth, of course, berates Kane some more, but then Kane ultimately lets Rollins know, I'm going to be in J&J's corner tonight. So good luck, champ. And then we go from that. Then we get to Titus O'Neil versus Big E. And yeah, really not much to say here. They go back and forth. Oh, I should say Xavier Woods in his infinite wisdom, because God, I love Xavier Woods, has labeled Big E the Minister of Mass. I dig it. I do. And ultimately, the New Day uses their numbers advantage to distract Titus and Darren. Titus gets caught up in the big ending, and Big E gets the victory. While New Day is celebrating Xavier Woods and Kofi having Big E on their shoulders, Roman Reigns' music hits, and then we transition to Roman Reigns versus Kofi Kingston in what certainly was match of the night. Really enjoyed this back and forth between these two, Ashton.
Yeah, I mean, I even loved the New Day's sort of frequent spots of interference in this. I think that really added to the match, and it really made it more believable that Kofi might have won. I thought that was a great touch.
Definitely. At first I was a bit miffed, admittedly, but I think I've gotten over it, and I can understand the justification for it, because I really wasn't a fan at first of the Superman punch being the finish. But I guess the argument could be made, well, since Kofi was in midair, right. I guess maybe that lends to the impact.
It was like a super Superman punch.
Yeah. So Roman Reigns gets the victory, then he goes outside. Did I just
make a Jerry Lawler joke?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I just made a Jerry Lawler joke. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll get past it.
Well, that's good to know, at least.
Yeah. Roman Reigns goes to the outside. He grabs a chair. And I'm thinking he's going to, stick around, maybe ward people up. But then we see Dean Ambrose's music hits, and he just sits in the front row because he got a ticket from a scalper, apparently. And he's got popcorn and soda in hand, which brings us to Seth Rollins versus J&J Security.
Wow, I can't believe we're here already. I thought that this match happened later than... well, I guess I should say that I thought that the Kofi Kingston versus Reigns match happens earlier. But I guess not.
Yeah, no. We're here, man. Yeah, you know that a heel is really effective when you can make the crowd really rally behind J&J, despite the fact that they, too, up until this matchup, really were heels. I mean, they're only babyfaces in the context of this one match, right. But still, I think people were really rallying behind J&J to get the victory. I heard Jamie chants. Jamie Noble, I think, was more popular in this match than Mercury, but they were both, I think, incredibly sympathetic. Good matchup, though, because the thing was, they didn't look like jokes, and I did really like that. Seth Rollins at multiple times did look superior to the both of them, as he should, because J&J was the security of Seth Rollins, but you actually got reminded, oh crap, Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury, they actually were wrestlers. They actually did stuff when they had active wrestling careers, and you really see them take it to Seth Rollins. But ultimately, Rollins does kind of equalize everything towards the end. He seems like he's going to pedigree Jamie Noble, but then Ambrose hops over the barricade, and he distracts Rollins, and he throws the belt in the ring. And then Mercury comes in, and he gets the roll-up on Seth Rollins, so J&J Security actually does win this match. If I could have taken some liberties with this segment, because I was telling Ashton, I said I would have had J&J Security go over. I would have had the camera pan to the Authority, Stephanie and Triple H watching backstage and looking, kind of bemused, like, oh, that was great, Seth, whatever. Maybe even a bit agitated, and then you have Kevin Owens walk in and say, hey, you guys wanted to see me? But that didn't happen. J&J Security is celebrating with Kane, and then Rollins just looks like he's happy that he's got his belt back, but that only lasts for 5 seconds, because then Ambrose comes up from behind, he hits Dirty Deeds, and then he holds the belt up again, and damn does he look good with it. But then he goes to the outside, gets a ladder, scales it, and he holds the title up high, and that's pretty much how Raw closes, with Dean Ambrose, on top, heading into Money in the Bank this Sunday. So, fun main event for sure. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But, Dean Ambrose is doing that job come Money in the Bank. Ashley, you have anything you want to say about it before we go into our next segment?
I don't know if I would necessarily say he's quote-unquote doing the job. I think that they're going to have another screwy finish, kind of like what happened last time, but I don't think that there's any way, shape, or form that Rollins is going to win clean.
I would have to agree, and it is kind of unfortunate because I really would like if Seth could win clean and go toe-to-toe with Dean Ambrose, but I know that's far too much to ask.
That's kind of the thing, though, is that the way they've been booking Rollins recently, they've been booking him really, really vulnerable. Like, literally anyone can beat him at this point.
Maybe he really is being set up on a platter for Kevin Owens. I mean, only time will tell.
Oh, man.
Either
but Owens would have to win Money in the Bank, and he's not even in that match, so...
No, he's not, but I mean, you never know when you're in good with the Authority, and I mean, Triple H and Kevin Owens have that NXT relationship. You never know. But it's either going to be him or Lesnar in my mind. Rollins' days are certainly numbered.
Yeah. I think Rollins Lesnar at SummerSlam is going to be the end of the day.
Yeah, I would have to agree. But with that said, let's move on to our next segment: high spots and low shots. My low shot is the easiest low shot in TWitWoW history, Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
You lost to your own security team. Yeah. After an Ambrose distraction, which really proves the formula jobbers, plus Dean Ambrose equals upset over Seth Rollins, because Heath Slater beat you after Ambrose distracted you, and now J&J Security beat you after Ambrose distracted you. Anybody can beat you so long as Dean Ambrose is at ringside. I'm convinced. So, yeah, and he didn't even get his belt back. He got it back for like 5 seconds. He couldn't even hold on to it for the show to close. Way to be the new Barrett, Rollins. Way to be the new Barrett. So, yeah, you're my low shot.
Yeah. Indeed.
All right, who's your low shot?
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to keep it simple. My low shot's going to be Dolph Ziggler because, he lost to Kane. His squeeze got hurt. Got some issues going on.
Absolutely. My high spot... Hell, I may never get a chance to do this again. I'm going to make my high spot J&J Security.
That's amazing.
They won. I mean,
well, specifically Joey Mercury got the pin.
Yeah, which is very funny because Joey Mercury and Seth actually have a very close relationship outside of, their characters and everything, so I found that quite funny.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, Seth Rollins credits Joey Mercury for saving his career. He gave him a real talking to down in FCW because Seth was getting frustrated, like, why am I not promoted? He was pretty much kind of pulling a Chris Hero from what we heard when he left.
Right.
Because I heard rumors that, Chris had, like, a superiority complex, and Seth was kind of going through the same thing. And Joey, I think, really set him straight, and he said, hey, you need to get it together or you're gone. And, yeah, he says Joey Mercury really saved my WWE career. So I thought it was really funny that Joey actually got to pin Seth.
That's awesome.
But yeah, J&J gets the win. I mean, they beat the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the same guy that they've been protecting pretty much from the jump. And yeah, I mean, what more can you say than that? They're my high spot.
Nice. Well, I mean, that being said, I'm going to go the obvious route again. I'm going to make my high spot Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I mean, really, why not? He, got the last laugh. He was parading all night on Raw with the WWE Championship through New Orleans. And then when he actually shows up and Seth could finally have the opportunity to get the championship back, Dean Ambrose shoves it in his face yet again.
And you know what, dude? I'm going to actually top that. I'm going to say my honorary high spot is Kevin Owens.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, Kevin Owens had a wonderful night tonight. Nothing really more you can say than that. He had a successful NXT championship defense. Yep. So, yeah. All right, moving on to our next segment, Raw Request. I'm going to make my Raw Request very simple. your Raw after this is going to be Money in the Bank Fallout. Make the fallout matter. I know Battleground, I think, can be construed as more of a
my
throwaway.
brother, it is gonna matter. We are gonna get Brock.
And I believe you're right. I believe you're right. So I want the fallout to matter because I know traditionally Battleground is probably construed as a more throwaway pay-per-view.
I'm pretty sure Brock's advertised for Battleground too.
Is he?
I believe so. So either we're gonna get Brock at Money in the Bank or the night after, or he's advertised for Battleground because that's going to be the night that he shows back up.
You know what I could easily see? I could see Rollins triumphing at Money in the Bank, and then the Authority, because you know they do everything big, they'll probably hold some kind of ceremony or something for Seth, or they'll have something where they're going to close the show, pretty much exalting Seth for his achievement, and then Heyman and Lesnar crash the party, and then we get just everything underway with Lesnar Rollins. So I could easily see that happening. So, but yeah, I'm still standing by my request. Make the fallout matter. Make Battleground matter. It's going to be a very important Raw if we're expecting Lesnar and all these other things, you know, and whoever the Money in the Bank holder is, I'd like them, and it's probably going to be Reigns, so maybe that won't be much of a concern. But, you know, make them legitimate. Make them have something to do. Just make Money in the Bank fallout matter for your next Raw. So that's my Raw request. What about you, Ashton?
I love your Raw request, just so you know.
One of my easier ones, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Man, how do I top that? I'm going to make my Raw request really simple. Because of the fact that Rollins and Ambrose's program that they're currently going through is basically going to be over after Money in the Bank, or at least most likely going to be over after Money in the Bank, keep Ambrose strong. Seriously, the last time he got out of a feud with Rollins, he ended up losing so many matches to Bray Wyatt, and then so many matches to Intercontinental Championship potentials, and he just got on such a losing streak. I don't want to see it happen to him again. So after Sunday, when he inevitably does not win the WWE Heavyweight Championship, keep him strong, please.
Now, do you mean, well, because I have two questions. The second one potentially being a follow-up, depending on how you answer the first question. When you say keep him strong, do you mean just like keeping him in compelling storylines that are higher on the card?
Yes.
Okay, so then my follow-up question would be, how do you feel about the prospect of maybe like he's so desperate because he tasted that WWE World Heavyweight Championship and then he lost it? Do you think maybe he'll instigate something with Reigns for that Money in the Bank briefcase if Reigns wins it?
Oh, man. I don't know. I have no clue.
Because I feel like
dude, the crazy thing is, I feel like there's a very distinct possibility that Reigns could walk out of Money in the Bank as the champion.
And see, I can see why you'd say that, and I'm not going to say that I agree with you. I'm divided with you.
I guess my main thing is, do we really want Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins one-on-one? Is that really believable? With the way Rollins has been booked?
I don't think, and see, here's my retort to that, Ashton. If we're asking about believability, I'd say hell no, because, I mean, look at who Brock Lesnar's destroyed. But that match isn't going to sell because of believability. That match is going to sell because Rollins is a weasel, and they want to see Lesnar tear him apart. That's why that match is going to sell. It's not a matter of is Rollins believable. It's is he a
Yeah, I guess I need to stop thinking of Lesnar in terms of him being a heel, because he really isn't anymore.
He's not anymore.
As soon as he attacked commentary and got suspended by Stephanie McMahon, he was a babyface, if not sooner than that even.
Now that he's a babyface, I think the whole selling point of his matchups is who do fans want to see Brock Lesnar just eviscerate?
Right.
And Rollins is at the top of that list. So, yeah that match is definitely happening.
Oh, man. I almost feel like it would be really interesting, though, if they could have another sort of, like a repeat of WrestleMania. Rollins, Reigns versus Lesnar, triple threat, but it's actually a triple threat from the beginning at this point.
And you know what I worry about? And maybe I should be saving this for our Money in the Bank preview and predictions, coming this Saturday.
Yeah, you should do that.
You know what? Then I'm going to cut myself off there. I'm not even going to talk, but we are going to have a talk more about Roman Reigns and that briefcase. So remind me there was something I do want to talk about. But with that said, we only have one segment then.
Oh, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna say it. It's a given. Reigns is winning the briefcase.
Well, we still have SmackDown. Maybe one of our opinions will change by then, but I'm kind of there with you. But
yeah, it's highly doubtful. But yeah, let's move on.
30-second hot seat. What do you got for me this week?
Look, man, I am so glad that we are done after Sunday. We are done with this pay-per-view every 2 weeks crap, because it has made 30-second hot seat impossible. So, because of that, I can't ask you a 30-second hot seat about next Raw. I can't ask you a 30-second hot seat about this coming pay-per-view because that's for preview and predictions. So I'm resorting to asking you a 30-second hot seat about something completely unrelated to the WWE's main roster. Now, I'm going to let you pick this time. Do you want an NXT 30-second hot seat, a Lucha Underground 30-second hot seat, or a 30-second hot seat about a promotion that we do not review weekly?
A Lucha Underground, definitely.
Okay. I'm going to keep this one simple then. Prince Puma he defended the title against Hernandez, but it's a two-parter. First of all, who do you think that his next immediate opponent is going to be? And actually, I guess you could call it a three-parter, because then do you think that person is going to win the title from him? If so, when do you think that's going to happen? And if not, who do you think is going to take the title off of him? So, all right, I'm going to just kind of go back and restate this just so that there's no confusion. Who is Puma's next title defense going to be against? Will they win or won't they? That's first two big ones. Then if they do win, when will it happen? If they don't win, who is after them for Puma? You have 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Okay, I think the next title defense for Puma is going to be against Johnny Mundo after he beats Patron in a number one contendership match. I think Puma versus Mundo is going to be the season finale, Ultima Lucha, bringing it full circle because they main evented the first episode of Lucha Underground, and I do believe Mundo will become the Lucha Underground champion.
Wow, you're all in on your boy.
You're damn fucking right I am.
I love it.
I want it bad. I want it bad.
You don't think Mil Muertes is going to win the title by the end of the season? You think it's on Puma and then Mundo?
Dude, no disrespect to Mil Muertes, because I don't want that man stalking me and killing me, but he's still got his hands full with Phoenix. I don't think Phoenix is done with Mil Muertes, is really how it should be said.
I'm sorry, but when you beat someone in a death match, I'm pretty sure your beef with them is over.
Phoenix doesn't die. And he has that medallion, and he's going to make all the other medallions come together, and then he's going to go after Mil Muertes, and he's going to finish it. Because Phoenix, yeah.
Oh, I love this feud so much. All right, guys. Well, that was your Lucha Underground 30-second hot seat for the week. We got to close this baby out to stay under an hour.
All right, guys. With that said, this has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. What to you was the highlight of Raw this week? What do you see as some of the fallout, for Money in the Bank? Who do you think will be some of the winners at Money in the Bank this Sunday? Maybe you can kind of give us some of the musings in your head. Be sure to take the conversation over to Tweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group on Facebook filled with some of the most passionate wrestling fans that you will ever meet. However, if you're shy and socially awkward like myself, Ashton has got you covered, because he has made a TWitWoW subreddit where you can just converse with him and I about all things pro wrestling. And we will see you again for our Lucha Underground review, where we will see potentially if Prince Puma's next number one contender is revealed. But more importantly, I wondered how exactly Black Lotus and Matanza are getting along. Until then, tune in and peace out.